Welcome back. You should now have a house created like I did. Now that you can create corners with the pen tool, you'll learn how to create curves. To create a curve with the pen tool, instead of clicking to make an anchor point, you drag. This creates direction lines, some people call them handles, that define the shape of the curve. This type of anchor point with direction lines is called a smooth point. Drawing curves gives you some of the greatest control and flexibility in creating paths. However, mastering this technique does take some time. The goal for this particular exercise is not to create anything specific, but to get accustomed to the feel of creating curves. You'll start with simple exploration. Choose 3 from the artboard navigation menu. So let's go down here and go to 3. Mine's on crack. Bear with me once again. All right, 3. There we go. So this part up here labeled exploration, select the pen tool on the toolbar. Make sure the fill color is set to none. Stroke color is black. Stroke weight is still 4. With the pen tool selected, click and release in an empty area of the artboard to create a starting anchor point. Move the pointer away. You'll see the pen tool preview showing what the path will look like if you click and release. In an empty area, press and drag to create a curved path. Just make it curved and release the mouse button. As you drag away from the point, 2 direction lines appear. A direction line has a round direction point at its end. The angle and direction of the lines determine the shape and the size of the curve. Move the pointer away from the anchor point you just created to see a path preview. Move the pointer around a bit to see how it changes. Click continue. Just make you a bunch of different ones. Doesn't matter what yours looks like, just the fact that you've done those. Alright, and then choose select, deselect. So you should have something on your exploration thing. Doesn't really matter what it does, just make sure you've used that tool. In this part of the lesson, you'll use what we just learned about drawing curves to trace a curved shape with the pen tool. This will require a little more precision. Alright, press the space bar to temporarily select the hand tool and drag to the left to get the area labeled work area to the right. So with the pen tool selected, move the pointer over the point labeled 1, and we're going to press and drag up to the red dot and then release the mouse button right there. Alright, up to this point, pun intended, you've clicked and released to start paths. You can also start a path by creating a smooth curved point so your path can be extra curvy. By dragging first, you made an anchor point that has direction arms. Press and drag from point 2 down to the red dot. Drag the pointer around to see how the path reacts. So I'm going to click 2 and move down to there. Pulling the direction line longer makes the curve steeper. When the line is shorter, the curve is flatter. And when your mouse is over that red dot, release it. If the path you created is not aligned precisely with the template, select the direct selection tool and select an anchor point to show the direction lines. You can then drag the ends of the direction lines called direction points until your path better follows the template. I think mine follows pretty well, so I'm not going to do anything. Select the selection tool, click the artboard with no objects, or you can choose select deselect. Deselecting the path allows you to create a new path. If you click somewhere on the artboard with the pen tool while the path is still selected, a new path connects to the last point you drew. Alright, so we're going to now work on this practice area. Select the pen tool and get creating. I'm not going to do this with you. I'll do it, but I'm not going to do it on video. When you get done, we're going to come back and everybody should have 3 things done here. I don't want to do it with y'all watching me because I'll probably make up, and I don't want y'all making fun of me. So I just discovered another thing that I am not very good at, and that was drawing these things. I'm not going to tell you how long I worked on it, but I finally got it to where I was okay at it. But yeah, mine don't look very good. But anyway, I did it. Hopefully you got something on there that you can turn in. So let's go to Artboard 4. And we're going to select the pen tool. And make sure the fill color is none, stroke color is black, and it's still 4-point. And we're going to press and drag up from point 1, stopping at the red dot. This is just how we started the last project. Move the pointer over the point labeled 2 and drag down to that red dot. Before you release the mouse button, and then release it. When it comes to curve, you'll find you spend a lot of time focusing on the path segment behind the current anchor point you're creating. Remember, by default, there are 2 direction lines for an anchor point. The trailing direction line controls the shape of the segment behind the anchor point. Continue along the path, alternating between dragging up at point 3, down at point 4, up at point 5. Put anchor points only where there are numbers and finish dragging down to 6. So I'm going to click here, drag up to the red. Click here, drag down to the red. Click here, drag up to the red. Click here, drag down to the red. There you go. If you make a mistake as you draw, you can undo your work by choosing Edit, Undo Pen, or Control-Z or Command-Z, and then draw the last point again. If your direction lines don't match the figure, that's okay. If yours don't match mine. When the path is complete, select the Direct Selection tool, or choose, and then click to select any anchor point in the path to see the direction lines. Then you can readjust the curve if necessary. With the curve selected, you can also change the stroke and fill. When you do this, the next line you draw will have the same attributes. So select, deselect, and then this is what we're going to do is you're going to select the pen tool and you're going to do this little guy down here. Once again, I'm not going to do it with you, but you need to do it. Once you've done that one down there, if you'll click File and then Save, I'm going to do it off camera, and so we will all have both of these little worms on ours. Okay, so stop this video and we'll take up from there, but go ahead and finish your second worm.